Hello and welcome to Legend of Grimrock. I have now taken away the timer, so it still takes time, but it won't stop after 20 minutes. Since I noticed that I am too scattered brained, or rather I think too much and don't notice the thing in the corner. So let's start a new game, shall we? So first things, let's look through races. So humans are the most known species that inhabit the world of Legend of Grimrock. They have two special traits. Skilled, which gives them an extra skill point. Fast learner, which gives them plus 10% experience. This is also increased by the base 10% experience boost. So they get a base 20% increase in experience from that standpoint. They have all things 10, so they more or less are the most adaptable into anything here. Next, we have the insectoid. The insectoid is a stronger and more intelligent species, but they are often seen as not understandable and blah 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 because they have more of a hive mind. Now, one of the buffs that they have is your chance of getting body parts injured is reduced by 50%. This is a huge thing. They have also two special traits. Quick, which makes so all their actions are decreased by 10%, as it says. And then Chitin armor, or chitin. However that's pronounced, I am not a linguistics expert, so meh. It gives basically plus 10% 10 armor, which means that this will more or less make so you take 10 less damage from enemies, which might seem like a lot, but it is at the same time as it's not. Next, we have the Lizardman. The Lizardman has a very high dexterity. They lose some willpower, but they have something really special there. They have a resist all plus 25%. Now that means that all damage on magical or these will do less damage. This is a percentage, so that's 29% less, that's 25%, that's 21. But they have a few special things. Poison immunity makes so they are immune against poison. This overall is good in a way. Endure elements make so that 25 becomes 50, which is a huge thing. Fast metabolism is a pretty okay thing. It makes so healing potions are more effective. They regenerate quicker, so if you want to make a mage of them, this one is really good since it makes so they can cast spells quicker. But yeah, it has its downside of that it will also make them eat more. Next up, we have the strong and sturdy Minotaurs. Minotaurs are the bulkiest and they live... I don't really know where they live. They often are used for labor work and mining and so on. Since, yeah, their strength is really handy for that. Now, these guys have two special traits. Headhunter, which gives them strength per head that you find in the game. There is 8 plus skulls in the game. A lot of people say that there's 9, some say there's 10, others say that there's 20. Yeah, it really depends on luck in that case, since I think the most that I've ever found is 7, but there's always 8 base, since, yeah, an achievement says that. Then they have Rage, which increases their strength by 10 when they have less than 20% HP. This is both good and bad. Since you can imagine, like, yeah, they get the, like, from this to 30 strength, they do shit tons more damage, but they have still they need less than 20 HP. From this, they would need what? Let's take this up to 100. There. They would need 19 HP to actually gain that trait. Otherwise, they will not have it active. So it's hit and miss. And last but not least is the Rattling. They live more or less everywhere, and they more or less live on the ground in sewers and swamps and whatnot. They are very adaptable. Now, Rattlings have a really big decrease on strength, but they gain a plus 15 max load, which is really nice. I can take these back. They also have immune to diseases. This is somewhat true at the same time as it's not. So there's a thing called disease in the game, and that's what they are immune against. They are not immune against other diseases such as paralyzation, which would actually help, petrification, which is also accounted as a disease because cure disease actually cures it. But they have a very, very special trait, the mutation, which gives them another stat point every time that they level. It's random, much like the favorite food of them, which, yeah, makes a big deal. Next up, we have the classes. First up is the Alchemist, or Alchemist, however you want to pronounce it. They have a base 50 HP and 50 energy, which is kinda good. Herbs in your inventory multiply. This means about every, I think it's 800 to 1000 steps. Like, just traveling makes so you get more herbs, which is really good. Firearms have 50% less chance of malfunctioning. This is both good and bad, since firearms in general have limited ammo. You can't pick ammo back up, and if you actually want to use firearms, you will have a problem later on with, yeah, the damage is okay. You have the boss destroyer, the cannon, but you need 5 in firearms to actually make sure that they do not misfire. Now, what is a misfire? You basically have malfunctions. There's two ones. Jamming, which means that you didn't shoot and it sets you on a very low cooldown. And then you have backfire. meaning the fucking gun explodes in your hand and it damages the whole party, which is not exactly that good. And every missed shot is very detrimental to your damage output. So, Alchemist is a really strong class in their own rights, but they also have the problem of that their special weapon is the firearm, and yeah, most of the time you won't really be using those. Then we have the Barbarian. Every level they get +1 strength. Now, that's really, really good if you are going with heavy weapons or light weapons for that matter as well, where they will get an increase of 1 damage or more per level, which might seem as, oh, it's overpowered, but it's not. Trust me, it's definitely not. Then we have Battle Mage. The Battle Mage can cast spells from the beginning without having a staff or anything like that, as it says, but weight of equipped armor is reduced by 50%. You gain +10 protection and +10 resist all when equipped with a magical staff or an orb. That's very, very important to note, since that more or less makes so when you have a shield you might get more evasion or more protection, but with just a simple staff, which also gives them energy, they gain that by itself, which is really nice. The Farmer is one of those, it's a really overpowered class. A lot of people think that they are weak and they are not really good, but in overall, they gain experience when they eat food. And you can literally pump one guy from level 1 to level 50 without much problems as long as you gain food. Sure, it still takes time, like everyone else, but it goes a lot quicker to level them. Fighter is your basic fighter. If you're using like the charges of weapons and so on, the weapon skills, then they are quicker to do that, as well as it takes less energy, which is a really good thing at the same time as, yeah, it can be neglected. Knight gets protection per level, has also the weight of equipped armor is reduced by 50%. Evasion bonus of equipped shields is increased by 50%. That's a really huge thing. Rogue. Rogue has the ability to backstab very nicely, especially if you're dual wielding. Now, dual wielding, normally you suffer a 40% decrease in damage output because, yeah, dual wielding. But they also have a +1% chance per level to score a critical hit, meaning they will be really handy if you're using a missile or throwing weapon. Last but not least, we have the Wizard. They get +2 willpower, can cast spells from the beginning without using a staff. Now, a lot of people think that's not exactly the best thing ever because, yeah, Battle Mage has a lot more, but that +2 willpower makes so they regenerate energy a lot quicker. Still, it's very slow, but it's still quicker than most. So, let's start making our party, shall we? I am gonna make That's right. Let's take you. Make you a knight. Boost both those. Let's make him endure the elements. Now I could go with muscular or strong mind for that matter, or any of these. But I'm not actually gonna do that. I think that the natural armor is good. The martial training is really, really good. The aggressive is it's okay, but at the same time it's not. The evasive is really handy. We'll go with evasive. Now, I'm gonna go into armor. That basically each level of these up to 5 gives plus 5% increase in protection from armor. This is a total of 25% increase, which is really strong with heavy armor. Next, I will go with heavy weapons, because heavy weapons, it's knight. Let's name her Shia. And yes, I will say that is a she. Next on our will be a Minotaur, a battle mage. Let's boost all the willpower that we can. Let's give as much. Let's give you Headhunter. And Endurance, I believe. Yep. Now I'm gonna go into Air Magic. And Concentration. Let's name him Dern. I have a special way of building him later. So let's look at... let's make a Rattling Alchemist, which will be going heavily. Could probably... Dexterity will make sense later on. Mutation, always take mutation. That's 0. Yeah. Missile weapons. Alchemy. I do recommend go into alchemy and get it to level 5 as quickly as possible. Natasha. And last, we will make an insectoid. Now there's also ways that I can build this person, but I'm gonna make it more or less a wizard. With quick and strong mind. boosting willpower as high as I can. And then getting vitality up as high as possible. Gonna go with fire magic and concentration. There's a reason for that later. Let's name him Saphos. That looks better. I think that's all of them. Okay. Excuse me. I'm a bit sick. Rather funny that that part of the ship survives. But then again, the island master more or less made so you would survive. Welcome to the island of Nex. Which is the Legend of Grimrock 2. A really awesome game. So, we're still in our little thing here. But this was the first episode, so I will say... Well, first let's save. I will save over this. Yes. And I will say bye for now and see you in the next episode, where we will actually start playing the game.